All right, we are rolling. Excellent. So hello and welcome to omega-3 supplementation for health and performance, or just omega-3s in general for health and performance. I am Chris and this is Michael. We are both registered dietitians and certified sports nutritionists at the Endurance Edge, and we are here to empower you to reach and sustain peak performance and health. So thank you so much for coming, and I think we shall get rolling, shall we? Oh, just side note, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box because we get a little notification. So anytime you guys have questions, we'll make sure to kind of revisit those about every 5 to 10 minutes, and I want to leave a little bit of time at the end too to be able to kind of answer some questions. So this is probably one of our more complicated topics, so hopefully you guys can.
We're going to make it simple.
We're going to simplify it because that's what we do here. All right, so here's what we are going to go over. You want to take the...
Yep, so we're going to talk about what omega-3 fatty acids are, or to talk about supplementing with them when we don't talk about what they are. So we're going to talk about what they are, different types of supplementation, kind of how to supplement, and then we'll also talk about some of the best practices, things to look for, things to avoid, etc. And then also looking at how omega-3s can kind of come into play with athletic performance. And then the benefits of like the OmegaCheck testing, for example.
Yes, excellent. Okay, cool. So those are all different things that we're going to go over. So what are omega-3s? Does this bring you back to biochemistry?
It does.
All right, so omega-3 fatty acids are a type of polyunsaturated fatty acid that doesn't, or a PUFA, if we like to have some fun with that, but we have different types of omega-3s. So in particular, and you'll see down in sort of the middle of that slide, EPA and DHA are the real rock stars, if you will. On the right, you'll see ALA, alpha-linoleic acid. That is an essential fatty acid. So we actually have to have that in the diet. Our body cannot create that itself. So we have to get that. And you'll see on the side, you'll get that from, certain types of vegetable oils. Not to say that we want you eating a ton of vegetable oil, but it's things like vegetables, like particular leafy greens. And then you also get them from things like chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, things like that. Your body converts, and you see that chain of events, converts from ALA all the way down. DHA is at the very bottom of the ring. So to get from ALA to EPA, about 10% gets from ALA to EPA. So many letters.
Yeah, it's a lot of letters.
Ooh, and then about 1% makes its way to DHA. So EPA and DHA are the heavily researched ones that we've seen for anything from, in particular from an athletic perspective, inflammation, joint health, eye health, brain health in particular. It's so heavily researched from for Alzheimer's and dementia, things like that.
Just like preserving cognitive function.
Absolutely. I mean, who needs a memory? Yes, please. So that's huge. So that's what it is. And can you get all of those things from the diet? It's preferable to get your good quality foods and your good quality omega-3s from the diet for sure. But some of us can't quite get there. But how much do we actually need?
Yeah, so the DRIs, dietary reference intakes, say that for adults we want somewhere between 1.1 and 1.6 grams per day. A lot of that kind of depends on like your body size, how many calories you're eating, what kind of stuff you're doing, but in general, somewhere between 1 to 1.5 grams is like a pretty good ballpark.
Yep, and that's not really that much, honestly. It's only about 2 servings of fish per week.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty doable for most people.
Fairly attainable for most people.
Yeah.
So you can consume it from the diet. If you don't like fish, you can supplement, or if you kind of want to eat fish once a week and supplement on top of that, that's like an option too.
Yes.
But then the dosing of supplements is like a very individual thing, which we'll get much more into. It's pretty complicated.
Yes. Some potential side effects, we do want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. The only one that I've seen personally in my practice is fish burps, and usually that is with people who are not taking a good quality supplement, or there's something else going on with their gut that they're not digesting well. But just wanted to make sure that, especially in very high doses, we may see elevated blood sugar. I've not personally seen that, but again, this is in the literature, so we want to make sure that you are aware of it. Diarrhea, I have heard that. Again, acid reflux. Bloody gums and nosebleeds, if you, because it does have to do with platelet aggregation. So if you're getting a ridiculously high dose, you're getting perhaps too much, and perhaps you're also on a blood thinner, it will continue to thin your blood. So that is an indication. So just being careful with that. If you are also on a very high dose of omega-3s, I would caution you if you are riding a bike, because the risk of like a road bike injury, something like that, right? So in particular, if you recently
or activities where you might cause bleeding.
Yes, that is not a good thing. But just at least wanted to make you aware of some of the potential side effects. But
I think the importance there is just like make sure you're talking to your doctor, your dietitian, having a healthcare professional involved in the process. Don't just like pop off and start like taking a bunch of supplements that you don't like.
Disclaimer right there, right? So definitely consult with your healthcare provider, which just happens to be that we're healthcare providers, and this is our main focus. So while a lot of physicians encourage people to take omega-3s, they're not necessarily going to give you, in most cases, they're not going to give you a lot of direction. And this is what we do. This is our specialty. So we work with other healthcare providers, other physicians, to make sure that you're getting the right one for you. Okay. So what is good old fish oil? I've got some here if you guys can see it.
Yeah, so they're just extracted from fish tissue. It's what it sounds like. It's just the oil separated out, like the fatty part.
Yep.
Which is why we tend to see the highest concentration in fatty fish.
Absolutely, yes. So your definite good quality sources are that DHA and EPA, and again, you're going to get that pretty much from fish or supplementation, because you'll make that chain of events from ALA from your plant sources, sort of indirectly getting some EPA and DHA, but again, we're not particularly good at doing that. So dietary sources, making sure that you're getting a good quality source of tuna. If you are doing canned, you cannot exceed more than 2 cans per week. Wild salmon is a great source. Mackerel, which does tend to be a little bit higher in mercury. So this is one of those things that I feel like if you're somebody who doesn't like fish, or you're scared of fish for these reasons, that's where a good quality supplement can come in, because of the PCBs and the mercury and all those things. Vegan sources, if you're absolutely against having any type of fish at all, there is some good quality algae oils. That's in essence what the smaller fish are eating, of which the bigger fish are eating. So in
You're
terms
taking
of
out the bioaccumulation.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, you're relying on your body to make that conversion from ALA to EPA and DHA, which it may be perfectly fine at, but more often than not, you might need just a little bit of additional help. Supplements. What do we look for?
Oh my gosh, so many things.
Yikes.
So,
it's scary. So
yeah.
I don't envy you guys. It's the wild, wild west. I tell you what. Anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
It is, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't.
So that's, again, where it comes down to like reputable brands and stuff. So, I mean, you want to make sure that you're getting like a good dose. We don't want to be doing insane doses. We also want to make sure we're at an effective dose. Right. So not doing anything too low. Again, with the composition, making sure that you're actually getting something that's going to be helpful instead of just like a salmon meat pill or something, I don't know. And then making sure it's in the right form so you can actually like efficiently absorb and use it.
Yes.
And then refrigerated forms tend to be the best forms. Right. They're going to be fresher. They're going to be more potent because the oil, the fat can kind of break down in like sunlight, heat, all those things.
Right. So just to piggyback on what Michael is talking about. So you want to look for a particular dose, and that dose really, we don't know the exact amount that you need unless you actually know what you need. And we're going to get into the OmegaCheck here in a moment. Foreshadowing, right? However, in a general, and again, check with your healthcare provider first, or us, as long as you're looking for EPA and DHA, a good rule of thumb is 2 to 1 EPA DHA ratio. Okay, so that's kind of a nice starting point. So I'll give you an example, and I know you guys may or may not be able to see me on the screen. I've got 3 different types of fish oils that are sitting out. I have one that I give to my kids, I have one that my husband takes, and I have one that I take. One is a big pill, one is a small chewable pill, and the other one is a liquid. So those are kind of and they're all melting on my table right now because they should be in the refrigerator. So if you look at a label and it says 1,000 milligrams of fish oil, you need to not trust that and turn it over and look on the back. So you want to look at, for example, I'm looking at this one. It's called Pro Omega 2000 Junior. Total omega-3s is 1,120 milligrams. The EPA is 586 milligrams and the DHA is 456. Children generally need higher levels of DHA. Okay, my kids are not particularly good at eating fish. I think they would probably survive on mac and cheese if I let them. So they get this every day. And they have no issues with it. I was telling Michael earlier that when they were infants and when they were young kids, I would put it in their orange juice and it would like float to the top because there wasn't an emulsifier, but they didn't know any different and they drank it. So no issues there. But you want to look at the back of that. If you say, okay, you've got 1,000 milligrams of a fish oil and you look at the back and you've got less than 300 milligrams, it's not the worst. That's okay, you know, because we want to be getting about 500 milligrams of that EPA DHA per day to get to that 1 to 1.6 grams. That's at least just for surviving. But make sure you check your EPA and DHA ratios. It should be listed on there. Now, notice that this particular thing, if you can see this, it's a white container. The other two containers I've got, see, these are dark. These should all be refrigerated. They should be purchased refrigerated and they should be purchased in dark containers. Do not buy a fish oil in a clear container. It is likely oxidized. If you buy it in a clear container, pretty much trust that it's doing the opposite effect that you want it to do. Okay, so it's kind of like, I don't know, do you like to lick the rust off of a pole?
Not particularly.
I mean,
I wouldn't choose to do that.
But that's my point, right? So the supplement industry is a billion-dollar, multiple billion-dollar industry. And walking through Costco, for example, and not to throw Costco in as much, but any, a CVS, a drugstore, Harris Teeter, whatever it is, you'll be able to find a fish oil on any of those. And more than likely, it's going to be in a clear container. It's not going to be the right amount that you need. It's probably going to be oxidized, so exposed to heat, exposed to longer shelf life. It's not going to be as potent and it can actually do more harm than it can good. So that's the first thing that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Secondly, from a composition standpoint, we talked about the EPA and DHA. That's the important part. Look for the triglyceride form. So I know you guys can't see that, but I'm holding it up for you to make sure that it should explicitly say that. If it is not the triglyceride form, it's generally the ethyl ester form. It won't say that. Ethyl esters are not well absorbed at all. You will absorb it the best from actual food, so eat your real food, y'all. But again, if you don't like fish, you're allergic to it, you don't want to cook it, you're scared of the mercury, you're scared of the PCBs or whatever the case may be, make sure you're getting a good quality triglyceride form. Refrigerate it. Don't leave it out in the
don't leave it on the counter like we are doing
like
now.
we're doing right now. I know, I need to go put these back in the fridge. So I will tell you a little story. I had a client, and it's probably, I know you guys can't see the whole room, but this is kind of a small room. My initial office was half this size. It was a little tiny room, and we were very close contact. And a woman, I always ask people to bring in all their supplements when we first have our initial meeting. So I make sure, because generally people say, oh, I'm taking a fish oil. That's like saying, I like to wear hats. Like, do you like to wear big hats? Do you like to wear ball caps? Like, what does that mean? I want to know exactly what you're taking. I want to see the actual labels. So we're a little obsessed here.
I'm more just laughing at the hat analogy.
Well, you're welcome. So I said, you want to make sure that you want to smell it for freshness. And so I opened her container and I sniffed it, and I was mid-sentence and nearly threw up on her. It smelled so bad. This woman was eating rancid fish oil. It would, and you know that smell, right? I'm sure you guys are all kind of vomiting yourself too. So anyway, and make sure that there are some purity standards. My particular favorite brands have to be practitioner brands. They're not going to be, do not buy your supplements on Amazon, y'all. That makes my soul hurt. You don't know how things are stored. You don't know how long they've been in transit. So where to buy, we list full script there. That's our online dispensary that we use. If you're watching live, we'll send you the link to use our particular dispensary that makes sure that any fish oil you buy is refrigerated when it is shipped. So they ship you an ice pack, and it's generally pretty quick. So we're in North Carolina. Our closest, full script's closest warehouses in Virginia, like Southern Virginia. So it's really close. Anyhow, so make sure you buy from a reputable practitioner. I like Metagenics. Designs for Health is another good one. I've got Vital Nutrients sitting here. Nordic Naturals is a pretty good one to find. Take with your meals, keep it in the fridge. So I like for people to take it at the beginning of the meal if they can. If you are an athlete, you should be taking it with your post-workout meal. And then there are some also, just wanted to make sure you know there's some fortified foods. Have you seen those in the grocery store?
It's kind of like there's a lot of stuff like that. Like you get some new nutrient that comes out and it's really popular, and they find a way to sneak it into all your products so you can get the benefits without having to like do anything special.
And I mean, I feel like that's a good
great.
way to.
I mean, that's easy. Everyone's buying milk anyways, so might as well slip some omega-3s in there.
Exactly. So again, it may not be a whole lot, but it's something.
Yeah, it's better than not putting it in there.
Absolutely. And then all my vegan vegetarians out there, if you want specific recommendations on algae oil, we can help you out with that. So hemp seed and then flaxseed is one that I just want you to be cautious of. It does have a therapeutic effect over a certain dose, in particular for menopausal women. So just try not to exceed 2 tablespoons per day because that is the therapeutic dose. So I think I'm done with my rant. Michael, you want to jump in with fish oil for athletes?
So like Chris said, that peak period, the most beneficial period, is for us to take the omega-3 as athletes is going to be post-workout. It's really just beneficial for your overall health. I mean, it really kind of benefits athletes for a lot of the same reason it benefits the general public. It's just good for you to have a good omega-3 profile.
Absolutely.
But there's also been some links to reduction in muscle soreness. So, that post-workout muscle soreness where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have lifted today. Or I shouldn't have done arms today or whatever, helps with that. Helps with
Michael
muscle
and
recovery.
his biceps.
Yeah. Just keep the camera pointed. Improving reaction time. Again, that's that mental piece that comes into play in cognition. And then
functional changes that Elizabeth tell us, EIMD again.
Exercise-induced muscle damage.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Okay. So
I'm glad you were here for that.
EIMD is exercise-induced muscle damage. We like the acronyms around here. So just so you are clear from a performance perspective, fish oil won't make you faster, but it will help you recover and reduce inflammation and improve joint health and then provide all those other additional benefits.
So again, it's not making you better per se, like Chris said. It's helping with those secondary things. So it's allowing you to hit that next workout better, and like get more benefits, overreach a little better,
correct,
stuff like that, recover better.
And this is something, generally speaking, the typical American has a ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s of like 20 to 1. And we really want to be 4 to 1 or even closer to 2 to 1. That's like, whew, that's intense. So as athletes, you guys are doing extra damage to your body.
So your needs
albeit at a beneficial, but your needs are increased. And everybody has a different ability to absorb it. So you'll see at the bottom the dosage for athletes in that post-workout period. We've seen in the literature anywhere from 2 to 4 grams per day. So just to give you an example, this Metagenics brand, I've got an EPA DHA 1000. As you might imagine, it is 1,000 milligrams per pill of actual EPA and DHA, not of total omega-3. So that would be like 2 to 4 pills of this, or the liquid version, which I like, stick in your post-workout smoothie, because you literally just pop 1 teaspoon in there and it's more potent than the pill version.
So to make this like more of like a takeaway thing that people can implement, because we kind of throw in like a lot of stuff. So we're looking for like the 2 to 1 ratio of EPA to DHA.
That's a good starting point, unless you specifically know your EPA and DHA ratios.
Right.
Of which we'll talk about with the OmegaCheck, but that's a good place to start.
So then the 2 to 4 grams that's as the total omega-3s?
Total omega. So like if we look at the ultra pure fish oil,
4.55 grams.
So boom, right?
That's a lot of grams.
And that's a lot of grams. So, and this is a teaspoon. This is a Vital Nutrients. It's called Fish Oil 2000, pharmaceutical grade, and it is the triglyceride form. And then for EPA, it's anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 milligrams. DHA 432 to 682 milligrams. You're going to find out a range more in liquid than you will in the pill form.
Because it can settle and separate and stuff.
Right.
But
so
the goal, so like with something like that, you're taking 1 teaspoon a day because it has the total 4.5 grams. So, but you're looking for a total as far as like the actual fish oil omega-3 in the 2 to 4 gram range. And then within that, as a good starting place, want an EPA to DHA ratio 2 to 1.
Yes, because remember the chain of events, EPA can convert to DHA unless you're somebody who does not do that conversion very well. So good starting point. Come on. There we go. Okay, so perfect segue to our OmegaCheck. So OmegaCheck is a specific, it's actually done by the Cleveland Clinic. So if you are familiar with the Cleveland Clinic, they're a Western medical facility in Ohio. But they are more functionally based. They're probably one of the leaders in functional medicine in the United States. And they do this particular test, and we run it here at our office.
So the cool thing we like about this test is it's like running any of your other blood labs. You know, your doctor runs all those to see like what your iron is, what your B12, you know, like any of vitamin D, like any of these things to see like what the actual level is. Same thing. This is omega-3s. Like instead of guessing, like we talked about a starting point for your supplementation, like why not figure out what you're actually at and what you need to do to get where you're going.
Yep, absolutely. So they test whole blood with this particular test, and we're going to show you an example, like a sample printout of what it actually shows, the results. So it measures the EPA, the DHA, and the DPA. DPA helps with that conversion from EPA to DHA, right?
So they're basically showing you all the levels, but then also like a ballpark of how good your conversion probably is.
Correct.
So you know if you need to do the 2-to-1 ratio or a different ratio.
Or a different ratio. Yep. I've had people who have done this, and I actually had them on a higher DHA or a 100% DHA because obviously they're not converting very well. Generally speaking, those are my vegetarians and vegans. That's just a very blanket statement just from my experience, but it just totally depends. I've had a lot of people with good luck on the metagenics. So anyway, it also shows your omega-6s, your arachidonic acid and your linoleic acid. So seeing, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because omega-6s come from, you know, oils and meats and eggs and, you know,
Foods
seeds and nuts. Yeah, absolutely. But it's just, it's a great picture as to how well you're absorbing it. What actually is your diet? Because you can say it's a lot of things, but you know, your blood is actually going to reflect the true story. And then hopefully getting you onto that right protocol or adjusting things in your diet to make sure that you're getting your correct needs. So that's always very telling. Some people really like their meat, for example, but they are doing a lot of like conventional meats. That's going to show up in your labs. So that's where we can help. You get this test, and then we can look at that and see what you're eating, and then get the interview from you to actually help you out in figuring out what is the best way to adjust your dietary habits and perhaps get into the supplement world so that you're benefiting not only your performance, but your health in particular. So here's a little sample. Any questions, by the way? Nothing? Okay, cool. So here's a sample of the OmegaCheck that we do. And just to give you a quick synopsis as to our price. So we have,
I was gonna say this is probably like insanely expensive.
I know, like you're selling me on this $1,000 test or something like that. No, y'all. So we just started taking insurance for this particular test. It's $12.
You said 1,200?
$12. And that's if you want to use your insurance. And keep in mind that that's a prepay, not a copay. So you pay nothing other than $12.
You pay the $12 up front, and then you get the test one way or the other.
Yes, absolutely. So the other piece about that, you can also pay the cash rate. We've got cash rate if you don't have, if you've got Medicare, Medicaid, something like that. We just take commercial insurance. It's $49 for the cash rate. So still not particularly terrible.
The copay on some labs is almost that high.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I feel like this is so worth it.
Well, especially
for athletes or anybody we work with.
If you're thinking about taking a fish oil, just go ahead and do the test and figure out exactly what you need instead of stabbing in the dark and saying, "Oh, I hope this fish oil helps."
Yeah, or looking at going to the grocery store and being like, "Well, this has a pretty label on it."
Yeah. I mean, the $12 is going to save you a bunch of money in supplements that aren't effective.
I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up because just FYI, these supplements are not particularly cheap, but their extraction process is incredibly rigorous.
This is one of those things where you get what you pay for.
Absolutely. So very well said. So you'll see on this OmegaCheck, you'll see the EPA, DHA. These are just sample results. And I feel like for the sample, we picked somebody who actually was not doing too terribly bad. So it lists out that EPA, DHA, your DPA, the arachidonic acid, remember that's that omega-6, the linoleic acid, again, that's the omega-6, and your OmegaCheck, which puts this particular person in the low category. So relative risk is moderate. So how can we improve that?
That's just like a score that they've compiled that gives you like kind of a picture of your whole like omega profile, right?
Yes, exactly. So, and then you can see the omega-6 total. Keep in mind that the omega-6s that are listed, so the arachidonic acid, linoleic acid, if you add those two up, then they're not going to add up to 43.8 because there are other omega-6s that they're putting in there.
Break out.
Right. And then they do that ratio. So see the omega-6 and omega-3 ratio down there at the bottom, 16.8, which is high, puts that at moderate risk. Same thing with the one below at the arachidonic and specifically to the EPA ratio. So we want to pull those numbers down. And again, that is going with appropriate dietary changes, getting into...
Right, so that's like decreasing the omega-6s in the diet and increasing omega-3s in the diet,
yes,
or supplementation to kind of bring that ratio closer.
Absolutely. So like that would warrant our questioning to the client, like, are you doing a lot of soy? Are you doing a lot of conventional beef? Are you doing a lot of conventional eggs? Like, are you doing a lot of leafy greens? What's your vegetable intake like? What's your fatty fish intake like? So things like that that we'll be able to investigate to be able to create the right plan or protocol for you. So in summary,
omega-3 supplementation is kind of just like a good idea for overall health.
Absolutely.
Most of us are not eating like that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio that is ideal. So supplementation is like an easy, convenient way to get there if incorporating more fish is not like feasible, not desirable, any of those kind of things. Supplementation can be a useful tool to get us there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's just kind of a good idea for overall health. Like there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yes.
But the supplementation needs do vary between individuals. So like that EPA, DHA ratio differs between individuals. Total dosing varies between individuals. So good idea to kind of get that test, figure out how much you need, and then work with a healthcare professional to figure out how to best meet your needs. And then for athletes, definitely some benefits on top of just those general health benefits. So it may help with some of that soreness, recovery, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the best sources of omega-3s are found as fish oils.
Yes, so EPA, DHA. So awesome. If you guys have any questions, check us out on the web. The Endurance Edge, our meal service is called the Fueling Edge. And just like we just talked about from an omega-3 perspective, the salmon that we serve in our meal service, we go above and beyond and spend the extra money to get the wild Alaskan salmon.
The unconventional fish.
The unconventional fish. Because you guys are awesome.
Said conventional meat, I was thinking unconventional meat. I was like, what's unconventional meat?
This guy, Mr. Organic versus conventional.
But it's funny because the unconventional is actually like the original method.
Yes.
Same thing with like, anyways. That's
the organic that is in the unconventional.
That's like a whole tangent. It's like we're calling stuff like conventional, but it was like the newer method.
Yes, yeah. Cows are supposed to eat grass.
Yeah,
that's what they live on. Okay, so we do have questions. So let me make sure we address that. Okay, so this person says, I'm looking at a OmegaCheck EPA DHA 1000 bottle online. Oh, shame on you for not getting it for us. I see the EPA 710 and DHA 290. That's exactly what we're holding right here. But I'm not sure where to find it. If it's 2 to 4 grams, can you explain what to look for? Okay.
Yes. Great question.
Yes. So again, I'm holding this the one that you were just talking about, the OmegaCheck EPA DHA 1000.
So if you find it online, usually there's like a picture of the label as well,
right,
where you can see like the nutrition facts. So that's like the place we're going to turn to.
Yes. So we will send you the specific link to our online dispensary, and we'll send you exactly the product that you want to be looking for. But this particular guy, you look at the back, and it says marine lipid concentrate 1.4 grams. So if you're looking for the 2 to 4 grams, so then you would do 2 to 3 or 4 of these per day.
To be fair, this one breaks it out weird by calling it the whatever
marine lipid concentrate.
So
the vital nutrient says ultra pure fish oil,
Yeah.
4.55 grams.
it's
See,
going to be
this is
something
where
to the effect of like total oil.
yeah,
oil.
total omega-3s is
Yeah.
what the Nordic Naturals one says, and it
Something
says
that seems like it
1120.
might be the total number.
Yes, exactly. So just, just call us. We'll help you out. We'll make
Yeah.
sure that you're on the right brand. So within that online dispensary, any client who comes to us and we make a specific recommendation, we put the recommendation in your particular portal and we send it directly to you. You can even purchase it in the office if you wanted to directly, but generally we send it to you via text and email, and then you can just purchase it directly and you don't have any question as to what you need to look for.
Mm-hmm.
Again, be very, very, very leery of buying online. Our particular dispensary always serves them or sends these in that refrigerated with that ice pack.
Yeah.
So that's huge. You don't want this stuff sitting on the doorstep. You don't want it not,
You just want to make sure it stays refrigerated. So, I mean,
Yes.
if you find somewhere else to purchase it, just again, make sure that they're shipping it refrigerated is going to be the key thing. Make sure that they're keeping it stored properly for ease of for convenience sake. Like our portal, the Full Script, we know does that. So it's like an easy way we can kind of set you up, like Chris said, make those recommendations and kind of pair you up with a supplement that fits you. And just like it eases some of the like burden on you for figuring it out.
Because this is by far, this is one of the most popular supplements on the market. And it is by far the most complicated one in terms of how you convert, all those kinds of things. So we want to simplify this as much as possible. Somebody was asking, will you send us the link to your dispensary? Absolutely. It is on our website too. It's kind of hidden, so I apologize for that, but we will directly send that to you. So again, just to reiterate, if you were doing this OmegaGenics, which is one of our favorite brands, and people have done really well on their OmegaChecks with this particular brand, but again, it depends on you. To get to that 2 to 4 gram thing, you would do 2 of these. So 1.4 grams times 2 is 2.8.
Yeah.
So you'll get in that region. More like 3 to 4 pills is a little bit more of a therapeutic dose. So for somebody, for example, who might have Crohn's or some sort of autoimmune condition who needs a higher dose, and that's been well researched for that particular condition, we'll go that route. So again, this is our job as medical nutrition therapists, or AKA registered dietitians. We want to help you guys do this the right way and ease the burden. So awesome questions.
Any other questions, like in the actual chat box?
There was one.
Yep.
What tuna and mackerel do you suggest?
Oh, okay, good question there. So somebody asked, what tuna and mackerel do you suggest? We'll send you a resource on that, and it will send you. It will list out specifically all of the different types of fish that you want to be looking for, where they're from, how they're caught. Just like I was telling you in our meal service, we use wild Alaskan salmon versus like Atlantic salmon or something like that. It will give you very specific notes on the type of tuna, because there's big eye and there's big eye tuna, and there's multiple different kinds.
So it's just like it's a good resource that just compiles all of the different types.
Yes.
And like kind of ranks.
And ranks them. So I'll send you that resource as well. I love that question. Thank you for that. And just to give you some insight as to what this OmegaGenics one that I like so much, what type of fish, it's anchovy, sardine, and mackerel. And again, it's been very, very specifically treated, not at high heat, because remember, heat will destroy the omega-3s, to be able to get out all the mercury and PCBs. Because mackerel is kind of a big fish, and it's an okay one to eat on occasion, but
we don't want to do like mackerel twice a week every week.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, awesome. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check us out on the website if you need any additional help with supplementation or athletic performance or health. That is why we are here. We are doing this as a free service for you guys, to empower you guys. So we just ask in support of us to share this information, to give us a call, to contact us, and hopefully you can support us with that online dispensary if you need help with specific supplements.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, and we will hopefully catch you guys next week.